All Alabama gardener. And then in this video, I'm going to show you how I grow cabbage all the way from seed, and then we'll do some cooking. So now I've got some potting soil in the bottom of my 1 gallon pot, and we're going to add some fertilizer, and it's going to be triple 13, 13, 13, 13. All that means is it's got the same amount of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, 13% of each one of those. It's called a balanced fertilizer. So we're going to put some fertilizer in here. I'm going to measure it so you can see what I'm doing. Now this is, you probably can't read it, but this is a 1/2 tablespoon. So there's the amount of fertilizer. Now I'm going to put it into my hand so I can see about what it is, because I usually use my hands to measure. So there's a 1/2 tablespoon of triple 13 fertilizer, and we're going to put that down there in the bottom. And then on top of that, we're going to put some more soil. More potting soil here, because I don't want the roots of any cabbage plant to be setting right on that fertilizer. Now I'm filling the pot about half full of potting soil, and now I'm ready for a plant. Now first I'll set the plants where I'm going to put them. Then I'll mark their place with the shovel, as you saw me doing. Then I'll come back and dig out the holes for each plant. Now I'm going to add a little bit more triple 13 fertilizer in each hole. And the liquid you see in the blue bucket is a compost solution. It's just a mixture of water and compost. Now the cabbage plants have been growing all winter, and here you see a nice one. I'm going to cut it. We'll take it in the house, and we'll make a Japanese dish with this cabbage. So here's our cabbage. I have removed all of the big, old, tough, some of them are kind of broken up leaves. Put those in the compost, and now I'm going to weigh this cabbage to see how much it is. Just a fraction under 5 pounds. Kind of looks interesting because here's the core, but here's the rest of the cabbage up here. It does have a little bit of open places in it, but it's a good head of cabbage. Weighed 5 pounds. First, she's going to slice up some pork. This is just a thin cut pork chop. Slice it up into small pieces.
I just put in, but I don't eat that.
Yeah. Now she can turn them slices of pork with them 2 sticks faster than I can with a fork. Now to the pork, we're going to add about 2 tablespoons of Japanese sake. And what this is going to do, it'll add a little bit of flavor, but the main purpose of this is to make that pork extremely tender. Now we can add the cabbage. We're going to put it on kind of thick, but it'll cook down, so that's okay. It's going to pile up, but once it starts cooking, it'll cook down. Now we put a lid on it. That'll make the steam come up. That'll cook everything.
Yeah. Brick.
This is tofu I made a couple days ago. Now as the cabbage starts to begin to cook down a little bit, then you can see that she's turning it, putting the part on top that maybe wasn't cooked, and getting the cooked part up on top, so it'll all get mixed together. And then she'll add a little bit more seasoning to it as it gets closer to being done. Alright, so now we're going to add the tofu. Tofu like this, when it's homemade, much better than what you buy in the store. Huh, sweetie?
Sound. Now I'm gonna put this.
Alright, now she's adding some better than bouillon chicken flavor. About a teaspoon of it. That just makes it have a little bit more flavor, that's all. Now we're going to add a little bit of soy sauce, but we're going to use the less salt, less sodium.
You need
Go ahead.
measure.
Go ahead.
You want me measure?
You're going to put about a tablespoon, maybe.
Yeah, tablespoon.
Probably about a tablespoon. Now look at it simmering. Alright, so now you can see how the cabbage has cooked down. And this is the tofu. What the tofu does, it absorbs other flavors. So it takes on the flavor of whatever you're cooking with. In this case, we're cooking with some pork and some tofu and some cabbage. So the tofu will not have a bland taste. It'll actually pick up the flavors of those. So what the Orientals do with tofu is they'll use a little bit of meat for seasoning or for flavoring with tofu, and then it becomes a meat extender because tofu is a high protein. So now we're ready to serve it up. So in the Orient, you're always going to have it with rice, and you actually serve it on top of the rice. So we'll get some of this out. Put it on top of the rice. We'll get us a piece of tofu there. More cabbage. Another piece of tofu. We'll put it over there. So here's our cabbage, pork, and tofu and it's called a champeroo. And in that language, champeroo means like what we might think of as a stir fry, except it's more of a simmered one because it does have quite a bit of liquid with it. And the sake that you saw her put it in there, that will make this pork extra tender. So let's give it a taste. First of all, let's get some cabbage. Alright, so here's the cabbage. Might be hot. That's good. Good food. You saw me go out there in the garden and pick that cabbage. Here we go. Now here's a piece of the tofu. Really, really good. And then here's a piece of the pork. Good, tender, falling apart. You don't have to chew on it really too hard to get it to break up. I already told you how good this is. Makes you want to dance. Now you know what I'm going to say next, don't you? Let me get a good little amount here for you. Well, here we go. Wish I could share this with you. I wish you could have a bite of this so you know how good it is. You know what to do. Get out there in the garden, grow your cabbage, make your tofu, cook it all up in a skillet. Good country food.